According to Snatemba Makongo of iDiski Times, Kaizer Chiefs are set to lose Dando Yenosi, Khosi, the captain of the DDC team that just won the Diski Challenge. That is shocking. I mean, how would this even happen? It makes zero sense. The boy is a good defender. He has leadership qualities, but somehow Chiefs let his contract run out. And now TS Galaxy have just swooped in and they're getting him for free. Now, I will tell you this. I hope that this is not true. But usually what the guy publishes, it's usually reliable. So, yeah, if it is true, then I just do not understand what Chiefs are about at this point anymore. Because I understand if it's just any other random player. But the captain of your DDC side, especially a captain who has led the team to a place where they are right now, winning, right? I know he's not the coach, but that experience, that ability, that knowing. Like, I watched the DDC team and you can see how vocal, you can see how it organizes the rest of the team, how it puts everyone in line. And you can just see with it, this boy character. At only 21 years old, he has a lot of work that he brings, and he has a lot of stuff or contribution that he adds to the team. But there might be a reason why Chiefs did this, although it's a bit ridiculous, but there's a reason. And I think the main reason is the fact that one, Aiden McCarthy is being promoted, right? So if you're promoting Aiden McCarthy, he's the one who's likely going to get some minutes. And with Udove, with Miguel, and Udove, not Udove rather, but Udove coming back next season because he's an injury now. There's Miguel, there's Ukwenika, there is Msimang, all these other center backs ahead of Dando Yenosi, then he ended up leaving. But I also think that this is not just from the side of Kaizer Chiefs failing to renew the contract, but this could also be from the side of Dando Yenosi himself not wanting to renew the contract because of the reason that I've said. He sees that, hey, there are a lot of people ahead of him and he doesn't want to be sitting on the bench at Kaizer Chiefs or spend another season in the DDC team. So, because when it comes to contracts, it's not like you are forced to sign a new contract. Chiefs could have offered a contract to him, but then he could have just said, no, I don't want a new contract because of his own reasons. And the team that he has selected, this is why I think that if it's him who decided this, it means that he looked at teams that could develop him, and then he chose TS Galaxy, the one team that has been very good at developing players. And at this point, they are now getting even better, not just at developing players, but also exporting players, right? Because if you go to TS Galaxy, there are chances that Sundowns will still buy you Chiefs, Pirates, right? Because Umelusi Ptelezi to Pirates, you have Ubatusi Aupas from to Sundowns, you have Msimang to Chiefs, Untuari to Chiefs. So Vele, at some point, he will still get developed, and Chiefs 2 years, 3 years down the line, they might still pay a lot of money for that boy. So yeah, it hurts, but I can see that, because I can see that why that could have happened. But then again, we did see the kid doing the press conference for the Chiefs alongside Dylan Shepard today. So it's like he's still doing press conferences. But I'm just going to leave it there. Do you think this is a good idea for the Chiefs, or do you think that this report is just not true? Number two, when we talk about contracts, do make sure to subscribe. You don't have to sign a contract to subscribe. You just click subscribe, and it increases the number of people who are subscribed. And, you know, maybe I get happy. Anyways, his contract is also coming to an end come end of the season, and his injuries, and he said he also just is leaving things to God, because, you know, these things happen. Injuries, 1 assist the whole season, and he was injured half of the season. So yeah, I think it's best for him not to just leave things to God, but to also talk to his agent to try and find him a team, because I don't think Chiefs will be renewing his contract. Which brings us to the situation of Utati. So, Utati is a midfielder now, udlala ku-DDC, right? But his contract is also coming to an end, and it is Galaxy. Apparently, according to the report by Ukongo, he's saying that Utati as well is also being monitored by TS Galaxy. So especially that, the one I'm talking about, a midfielder. And contract is ending in June, and he was a key player in the DDC team that won Chiefs the DDC Disc Challenge Cup, but you know, no renewal as well. But as I said, players are getting smarter. They don't want to get tied down to these long-term contracts, only to find that they could have gone to another team for 2 years, get that 20,000 from the team, become a very good footballer, and then Chiefs will buy you back again. And then the 20,000 you're getting at TS Galaxy will all of a sudden be multiplied by 7. You are getting 140, 150,000, and that's much better living than staying at Chiefs, and then they give you a 5-year contract where you'll be earning 40,000, which is still a lot of money. It's a reasonable amount of money. It's not a lot of money. It's a reasonable amount of money, but you could get better if you just disappear and go away from Chiefs. And you know, and football is I say it's not a lot of money. It's a reasonable amount of money because of how short football is as a career. It's not that 40,000 is not a lot of money, because if you are working like 20 years in a career, 30 years, that's a lot of money, because then it's sustainable for a long time. But here it's just 10, 15 years and then you are done, you know. So that's the thing. So in the Vaganapi, no Plum, apparently the club is going to step in, according to Sokala Duma. But, there's a but, there's always a but, and it's a big but. The thing is, Chiefs are not worried that the matter might escalate and get out of hand. Here's another but, or another however. There's something I don't get. Apparently, Chiefs might be looking to keep Punjabulo Plum. So he's on loan at Kaizer Chiefs until the end of the season. But his contract with St. Louis ends in December. Now, I don't think St. Louis will be taking him back unless Ukanel, since he now has another team in MLS, unless Kanel wants Plum, he's likely going to come back to South Africa and probably find another team after his contract ends with St. Louis. Because keeping him, I'm like, what would have convinced the Chiefs management to keep him? Because right now, as much as I like Uplom, I just don't see from a footballing perspective why I would keep Plum if I was a sporting director. Would you keep Plum? Like my comments. And Dover says that he thinks that as players they failed the club. Of course they have. Forget the club. As fans, you guys have failed us, and you should know that, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. Because about Dover, you can see about Dover, they fight, but there are players, man, who are not giving us anything. And I'm not even talking about they are bad in terms of performances. The fighting spirit in some players, it just doesn't look like it's there. If the game is difficult, their heads drop. Agnagzama, there is no gusto, like, let's try. It's disappointing. Of course, you guys have failed us. But what do you guys think about everything, about Dando Yenosi living and other things? Do let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals al pelumoy.